I made the Cybertruck Warthog. The inspiration for this build really came from playing a lot of Halo Reach, finally being on PC. And all the memes. Sorry for the change for space and this weird mic setup. It's the only way for me to record good audio. I decided to reflect on my build at home after I've edited the video because it's just easier to talk over footage than thinking about what to say. So I got the model of Thingiverse, and if you want the Cybertruck open bed, I'll leave a link in the description and you can follow along, and also the Halo chain gun turret, which I will also leave in the description. So I downloaded the models and sliced it in Chizu box, making sure that the scaling is correct and that the turret doesn't bump into the top of the vehicle. And from there you slice it and I send it to the printer. Unfortunately, the first print failed, so it just looked kind of melted, as you can see, or by melted I mean it just didn't finish printing. So I sent a new print and that print succeeded, so that was pretty good, and I started UV curing it with a UV LED. After the resin has been cured with the UV light, I removed the support material and started fixing some of the defects from the print, because the support material, and also due to it not being a perfect print, there is some defects in the back of the vehicle, so I had to sand that off and do a lot of post-processing basically. And then after all the sanding and making sure everything felt quite right with my finger, just you feel it because you can't really see much of it since it's white, I gave it an ISO wash to remove all the dirt, that way the primer can adhere to the model. I gave it a grey primer because it contrasts from the white, so I could see where I'm applying it and giving it an even coating. After the primer has fully cured, I give it a silver base coat because I want it to have that silver shine. I give it a black wash on the recesses to bring out the details. After that, I go over with a thin layer of green. That way the wash and the silver is still shining through, bringing out the finish that I wanted. After I painted the green, I decided to add more of the other colors. Well, I decided to block in the blacks, but since the model is so flat, painting it by brush really shows the brush strokes, so I had to remove it with ISO and a cotton bud swab. Instead of painting by brush, I decided to airbrush it instead. So I mask it off, then I give it a black primer. I had to use primer because the ISO already removed the primer underneath it, and to adhere properly onto the resin, you want to use a primer. While I have some black primer in my airbrush, I decided to spray the rest of the parts that are meant to be black over with it to just smoothen out the brush strokes. After I've done blacks, I went back with the green to just touch up some of the spillage that I had with the black. Once I blocked out all the colors, I gave it a heavy green wash in the recesses to bring out the details. Unfortunately, the model was a bit unsaturated for my liking, so I boosted the opacity of the green with a green wash over the entire model. And the good thing about using green wash is that it doesn't show on the black parts, that way I can just spray over the entire vehicle without needing to care about obscuring the black details. So now I'm masking off the lights so that I can paint them the respective red and white. And before I finish up with the wash, I'm giving it a black wash on the turret to bring out the silver. Since the model was a little bit damaged after the print, I decided to go for that wetted look. So I dry brushed some silver onto it to make it a bit more dinged up or battle worn. After dry brushing it, I glued all the pieces together, making sure that the turret is somewhat centered, and that's how I got the model finish. Sorry that this video felt a little bit awkward. With practice I should get better at speaking into the lens. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.